This
warehouse.
conference will now be recorded.
It's more or less we are seeing this from many years, almost like I started working almost in 2013. So prior to that also we do have EWM space from 9.0 and other things, but I didn't get it. No. One second, one minute. I'm just getting one call, guys. Please hold on. Hello. Hello, guys. Am I there? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yes. So sorry. Yeah. So now coming back to this extended warehouse management, guys, I just want to make sure that we can make sure this particular EWM has been divided into two different landscapes, guys. Okay. So two different landscapes in the sense, ideally, we are trying to have this warehouse management solution in two different versions. One would be in your decentralized landscape. The other one would be your embedded landscape. So ideally, we are having two different versions of it, depending upon the client landscapes. I mean, like the volume and the size of the business, we will be suggesting what would be the best option for that actually. Okay. The reason behind that is because these days, because S4 has come into the picture from past 4 years. Earlier, we don't have an S4 simplified one. I believe everyone knows what is an S4, right? Hello? Guys, am I there? I've lost.
Yeah.
Hello? So this particular earlier, what happens is we used to have our core ERP modules like ERP 6.0, or we used to have this 7.0 versions, and then we used to integrate with our other SEM components, like what we used to have our APO, or we used to have our EWM, and we used to have our TM and event management. All these things we used to have it basically, right? But when it is coming to this particular integration aspects, hello.
Yes.
So, but now when we are having a kind of an integration kind of things now, ideally now simplified in the sense there are some differences, but the core functionality has never changed here. So differences in the sense, ideally, it could be your master data integration, or your delivery documents integration, or your warehouse integrations, and your process integrations. So I've segregated this demo into 5 different sections, guys, to make sure what are the landscapes and what are the things that we are going to see it in our S4 and other things. Okay.
So, Sri, Santosh here.
Please go ahead.
See, I would like to know. Hello.
Please go ahead. Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, I would like to know whether this EWM 95 and S4HANA 1909 are same or different?
Which one? Can you help me?
C underscore EWM 95. Okay. And
Yeah, let me.
1909.
Yeah, let me
do different.
No. That's what. So here, what is happening is we will be having in two different landscapes. That's what both core functionalities remains the same, but when it is coming to your integration aspects, that would be difference here. Okay, like what your master data integrations or your system landscapes or maybe your processes, that will differ, but the core EWM functionality will remain the same. You're talking about
Because
your
yeah, sorry. Because why I'm asking, because I'm attending few exams now. I don't
I
see
that's what that's
any
what
subject.
let me answer, please. 1 minute, hold on. Let me answer.
Yeah,
Then you can.
yeah.
So as of now, SAP has not provided any certifications for your S4 1709, 1809, or 1909. They are still
Okay.
providing only the certifications for C underscore EWM 9.5 or C underscore TM 9.5 only.
Okay.
Okay. So ideally, that's the reason you would have confused like why you don't have this. Okay.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
S4 certification is only limited till date only to the source and procurement only. We don't have the certifications for your EWM, such as your EWM 1909 or your TM 1909 or your other advanced modules, what we had it. It is
Yes.
still, okay, it is still in the decentralized version only. They are offering the certifications here. That's it. Okay. I hope I've answered
Okay.
now.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Okay, but that's what I'm trying to say, that I have segregated this into five different sections, as you can see here, so that you will be able to understand the differences. So when we are getting into the sessions, ideally we will be having the detailed explanation of why we need to go for a decentralized, I mean, like what is the differences between the decentralized and what are the differences of your embedded one. Okay, clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me just move it down. Now, if you see this, these are the existing landscapes what we had earlier. Since from 2006, we had this EWM coming into the picture from 7.0 version, but we don't have so many customers implementing in 7.0. We do have few customers, but ideally from 9.0 version, we had this EWM coming into the limelight. So where everyone started discussing about this because of the existing WM limited functionalities, SAP has supported to enhance the functionalities in the EWM and it made available to the customers. Now, when I'm talking about the decentralized, this is what. If you can see here, we have ERP in one instance and EWM and SCM server in a different instance. This is what the decentralized I was referring to completely. Okay, where you will have an EWM and you will have your TM and you will have your event management and your APO, all these things in your SCM server. The same way, when I'm talking about as my standalone, means from 9.0 version even till 9.6 and 9.5, EWM still can behave as a standalone. It doesn't require any SCM server there. Means like SCM server, then it's a whole package like your APO or your TM or all these things. So it doesn't need all these modules coming up. You still can have only the EWM as a standalone, and that can be integrated either to your ERP or to your legacy systems. That is one future what we have it from 9.0, which is of a decentralized one. From the release of an S4, which is a simplified one, from 2015 we had this SCM, sorry, the S4 coming into the picture. But ideally, we had this from 1511, but nowhere we had the EWM in scope in 1511. From 1610 version, means 2016, we had this S4 embedded coming into the picture, where we have your EWM and S4 in one scope, and that is what we can see here. Okay, since from then on we had this both WM and as well as EWM coming in one picture, where we will now call it as a stockroom management, and this we are calling it as an embedded WM. There is no more warehouse management solution what we have it in the ERP. I'm clear on the system landscapes, guys, so far?
Actually, can you this one earlier?
Yeah.
I missed the first part with the decentralized. Can you get
Which one? I'm sorry.
no? So you meant to say is EWM came into I mean the first available since 2016. That one.
Okay. EWM came into the availability in the S4 from 2016. Means from 1610 version, we had this EWM and WM in the same landscape. Okay, in the same landscape of the embedded one. You got it? And from 2016, we are having each and every new release from 2017, 18, 19, and 2020 also we had a new release, which is coming up in the recent days. So these are all the ones. Now that's what earlier we had WM, but now that has been renamed as your stockroom management now. You got it? Hello?
Okay.
Is that what you requested or something else?
I mean, it's okay, but so you meant to say EWM before it combined totally into the ERP. It was an add-on. So yeah,
When was that? No, we do have an option of an add-on in the decentralized, but we never use this functionality. Now the same add-on functionality, we were using it in the embedded landscape. Okay.
okay.
Okay, so this is what we can call it as an systems landscape for the EWM. So putting it in a very precise, we say that in EWM we are offering in two different landscapes. One as your decentralized landscape where we have CC 6.0 and EWM 9.5 and 9.6, and the embedded one from 1909 to 2020 release. That's what we had. Okay, am I clear or any other questions now?
No, clear.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, coming to the integration aspects, ideally, yes. Before I directly jump into the changes, why do we require a warehouse management solution? Can someone help me out on this? What is the significance and what is the advantage of having a warehouse management solution? I just want to understand. What is the main thing for us to get this?
If the storage location is very big or complex, and there is more internal functionalities like picking packing is necessary for client perspective, then in that particular scenario we prefer WM or EWM according to the requirement or complexity.
Yeah, so it is depending upon according to the requirement, but ideally a warehouse management solution is nothing but either it could be your stockroom or either it could be your EWM one. The main point of having a warehouse management is to have an exact precise location for your products where you're getting stored, right? To find out the exact location of your products, that is what we ideally have it, right? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so probably we will be having an exact precise location, but more or less another thing what we can say is depending upon the scenarios what we had it ideally, that is one more thing, like depending upon the complexity of your warehouses. Okay, so either it could be your deconsolidation. For example, I should show you the slide what I was referring to basically. I think I've kept it somewhere the last year. So if you see this here, this slide is completely referring to our differences between the WM and the EWM. Now, for a customer like for an Amazon or for some any of the logistics guns, what happens here is if you see if they want to use some kind of an advanced functionalities like the transport units or a dock appointment scheduling or a production integration or the returns management or a deconsolidations or the multi-client transit warehousing, these functionalities will not support in your warehouse management solution as of now, ideally. But you can see here, it's only this what we had with your bin management, or the two we have a limited functionalities for that. So in order to meet your customer requirements, ideally, we would be having this one, whether it could be a basic or whether it could be an advanced. Okay, that is one thing which we can make use of it. Okay, hello. Okay,
Right.
am I there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
now, yeah. So now coming back to the systems now, ideally, what is the EWM is offering for us? What are the features that we had it? So these are all the differences. That's the things. Yeah. Now, when I'm talking about the core EWM processes, ideally, we can see this any of the warehouse solutions, we will be only discussing about three major things. Either it could be your inbound or an outbound or an internal. Why? Inbound is nothing but receiving of the goods inside your warehouse. We always call it as an inbound. Outbound is the one where we'll call it of receiving of the goods. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Shipping of the goods from your warehouse, that we'll call it as an outbound. Internal in the sense, what exactly that refers to? We may have an internal operations, like for example, a bin to bin movements, or maybe you'll have some kind of an counting in your, you have to count your products, or maybe you need to perform some kind of an internal activity. So any on an overview perspective, we will have only these three processes in our systems. Anything, if you take your Red Perry or your Manhattan or your stockroom management, or you take any of the Oracle based warehouse solutions or an EWM one, on an overview we will have only these three, but the executing and as well as the functionalities may differ from one system to another system. Okay, because that all the interfaces what we had on the, what is the things, because SAP is the one where we are widely using it because of the closely tight integration between your other systems. That is one of the reason why we always go for our our existing modules here, right? The same way, when I'm talking about this particular EWM one, we do offer the same kind of a processes, but in detail, what are this inbound? For example, we have something called as goods receiving into your warehouse. Like for example, we have, for example, maybe one of the example, I'll take it here. Where is my other diagram? One second. I need one. This is all the storage times, which, oh yeah, this is the one I'm looking. Now, everyone, you see this? This is how a warehouse looks like for us, basically. Do you see that? Hello?
Yes.
Now, in this process, now ideally receiving of the goods and sending of the goods, that's it. That's what in a simple way we are talking about. But how effectively are we planning these things? Because in a day-to-day logistics business, we have to make sure our picking activities, I mean to say that our ship out and our inbound have to be so effective so that we will be meeting our customer requirements, right? Because now if you say that, like in many of these days, like whenever you're shopping in online, like you will be able to get your shipments in the next working day. Like if you have this Amazon or maybe some kind of an Amazon Prime customers, and if you go for a BOL or maybe some other any of the websites, like you see that the shipments is going to happen very soon these days, right? It's not like in previous years. Like if you go back to 10 years, almost like 10 to 15 years, whenever you order something, we don't have this e-business e-websites in this way what we had it in today, right? Now in today's world, what is happening, whenever we are trying to order something, we are going to receive that shipments in the next immediate day or maybe the next following days, right? So how are we going to meet that requirements based on the logistics, like whether it could be your TM, how effectively you are planning your cargoes, and how effectively you're shipping out the goods from your warehouse. So this is all the things which we maintain in the warehouse. That is what I'm trying to tell about here. Okay, hello. Now, coming to one of the complex process, I can't put all the complex process here. One of the complex, I'll just take it for our understanding, guys. Now, in a simple layman terminology, I'll try to make it understand. Now, for example, uh, let's assume that we are shifting our house. Let's make it so simple. Now, and we will come correlate to our warehouse management. Now, when we are shifting our house, normally what exactly we do, guys? We will try to pack it, and then we will put it in the boxes, and then we will load it to the truck. Agreed? But that's what the packers and movers guys will do normally back in India, but in everywhere. That's what, right? We'll
Okay.
call to some guys and they'll come and they'll pack your goods and your boxes, and then they will load it and then they'll send it out, and then again they'll unload it your new destination houses, and then they will respectively put it. Now, when at the time of unloading, guys, let's assume you have packed all your goods and you're going to your new home. At the time of unloading, how are you segregating these boxes? Can someone tell me on what basis we will be segregating this?
Probably categories like fragile and
Exactly. Yes, that's what I want. Yes.
weight.
Perfect.
It could be.
So basically, we will try to have some kind of an description maintained on the boxes. That if it's a fragile, we'll be maintaining it separately, or maybe if it's a kitchen ones, we'll maintain it separately, and if it's another things, we will maintain separately in the boxes. Or for example, let's assume you got mixed up. What are you gonna do then? First thing, you mixed up all your products. Let's assume that.
Unpack
What
it,
you do? Perfect. Unpack it. Then
segregate it, repack.
exactly segregate it, and then what you do again? You will
We
put
will
it to the respective places. If it is in what do you say, that we will be organizing something like we'll have the products which has to go like to the hall or to the kitchen or to your bedroom. So the products will be segregating it, right? Agreed?
correct.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
same when we talk about in the warehouse terminology, guys, this is what we'll call it as a process oriented storage control, nothing else. Means whenever we are receiving some kind of a mixed products to our warehouses, for example, we are working in some kind of an food processing industries, or maybe we are working in the beverage industries. Let's assume that whenever we are working in a beverage industry, as simple as that, we are receiving some products called from the same vendor. We are receiving some products like your Coke and your Pepsi getting in the same pallet. It got mixed up. Or maybe that's a behavior of your vendor, that he'll be always mixing up the products and he'll be sending it to your warehouse. But when you're trying to store the products in your warehouse, you don't want to store the mixed products. Why do you want to don't store the mixed products? Can someone help me out here?
It will lead to human errors in the warehouse when picking for
Exactly,
orders.
because perfect. The same way, whenever we do the same thing, the example what we have taken earlier, like the household goods, when we mix the product and we left it like that, and when you want to pick a specific product from a box, it will lead you a lot of time, right? Agreed? Because you have to search it, and then you have to pick it, and then you have to place it. So, which is leading it to a lot of time. Then what is happening there? So there is a no efficient way of working in a warehouse, right? Because we don't have it in an organized way. Basically, when you want to pick a specific product in your house, even you know where exactly the product is. But if you don't know that, how you gonna pick it up? Same way in the warehouse, whenever we are having a mixed products, what the people will do? They have to break it up. They have to search for it, and then only they will be shipped out. Then what happens here? There will be delay in your process. In what way? Not only in your warehouse, delay in your shipments and delay to your customers. So the entire process is getting affected here, right? In order to avoid this, we will be planning our warehouse in such a way, in an organized manner. In such a way, the process what we are looking is called as the deconsolidation process, guys. The name what we've kept it here means whenever we are receiving a mixed products in your warehouse, okay, fine. I'll take the whole pallet. We'll call it as a pallet in a warehouse. Okay, the whole box, for example, to a fixed place, which we call it as a work center, where that's a designated place in a place. Okay, a kind of a workstation, we'll call it, where we perform many activities like packing or repacking or whatever it is. There we will perform it, and then we will be breaking up the boxes, and then we will separate the products, we will repack the products, and then we will store it in the same storage type or maybe in a different storage type. That is what the process we call it as a deconsolidation, and one of the complex process here. Am I making sense here, guys? Hello?
Yes.
So this is what we need to understand. This is one of the process what I said. The same way, we do have a layout oriented, we do have a process oriented, we do have a multiple processes in between these things. Okay, that is what we call it as the deconsolidation process in the EWM system. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is how we will try to understand the inbound. But the same way we do have even the outbound also. Like as I said at an overview, I always tell that any of the operations we need to segregate it. Means that's what I always do. Means we need to understand what are the business processes that we need to understand. Okay, within the inbound, what do we have, and within the outbound, what do we have? I'm sorry, this is what. Oh shit, where did I miss this? God, yeah, this is the one. Okay, now you see this transportation means, yes, now we need to track your transport units, means which is nothing but your trucks. And the same way you need to understand your quality management. That's what the inbound which says. The same way outbound. How are we gonna your outbound planning? How effectively you are going to pick your products? If in case of your Amazon or somewhere, daily you'll have somewhere around 3,000 to 5,000 shipments. You'll be shipping it out on a daily day-to-day business. Okay, if it's a small warehouse, maybe that's very less volume, but in a very big warehouses, you'll be having a huge volume of many trucks, and how are you maintaining that? So all these are the things which we need to understand in precise, like outbound, what we are trying in picking, how are we effectively we are picking it, and what ways we can combine it. That are all the things which we come in the picking, loading. Okay, and out of it again, we need to understand the reporting also, because we need to know who are all working in a warehouse and who is not working in the warehouse, and within the warehouse how much a person is executing his workload, whether he has been overloaded or whether he is underloaded. So these are all the things where it comes in your resource and your labor management. Analytics and reporting means we need to understand what are your open tasks in your warehouse. Any of the open products has not been confirmed, or something has been cancelled, or some of the products got damaged. So all these things where we will have your in the reporting tools, which we call it the monitor transactions. And the same way we need to understand about your cross stockings, because there are some products where you do not need to perform anything in your warehouse. So as soon as we create an order, we'll directly ship out from your warehouse. So that's a cross stocking we call it as. And then the yard management, how effectively you are planning your trucks in your warehouse, outside your warehouse. These are all the things which comes in additional features. Apart from that, so these are all the core functionalities. It remains the same whether we choose a 9.5 version or whether we choose a decentralized version also. That doesn't make any difference there. Okay, guys. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But the only thing that we need to understand, what is the differences between the EWM and the embedded one. Okay, there are changes. Now, if you see this earlier, for connecting this ERP and the EWM, we have something called as a QRFC. That is the one which we always maintain. Okay, queued remote function call. But now we still have it in the same system, but instead of that, now if you see this, okay, this is something for the system connections, but ideally when we are talking about the master data, earlier we used to transfer your plant, your business partners, your sorry, I'm so sorry, not the business partners, your customers and your vendors to your EWM system, and that we'll call it as a business partners. And by using a tool called as a core interface, that's a method which we use it all the time. The same way, but in the embedded versions, we do not need to have the core interface maintained, being in the same system. You got my point? So by doing that, what happens? A lot of master data activities like your cutover will be reduced. Agreed, everyone?
Yes.
Apart from that, now, okay, this is something, a new naming convention that we are using it in an S4. A customer or a vendor earlier, which we use it in the decentralized one, now we call it as a business partners. And the same business partners, we are using it even in the S4 also. That's what I think. But as I said, that there are some changes in your processes. Like what earlier, what happens was, this is how a simple inbound flow looks like. So on the left hand side, if you see, ERP and EWM used to be in the two different boxes, and in the S4 we have it in a single box. Now if you see a purchase order or a production order, whatever is getting created, we create an inbound delivery against that inbound delivery gets flows to in the EWM as an inbound delivery notification, and that gets created to an inbound delivery, and then we'll have your unloading and all these things. But now as soon as we create a purchase order or a production order, and an inbound delivery gets created, but that inbound delivery gets turned into an inbound delivery EWM directly, there would be no notification for that. So what does that mean? Means the duplication of the deliveries has been completely reduced. This is what we can see here. Okay, that's the differences between the S4 and the EWM 9.5 version, what someone has asked me earlier. Okay, and the same way, when I talk about an outbound also, you see here we have a sales order. Against a sales order we have an outbound delivery, and against that we'll be having a request followed by an outbound delivery, and then we'll be performing your warehouse activities. But now here we'll have a sales order, we'll have an outbound delivery, and that outbound delivery will be converted into an outbound delivery only. There wouldn't be any request against your outbound delivery in the ERP one. So all the time we need to understand what I mean by an S4 is nothing but it's a simplified means we do not need to have your core interface to be related, or you do not need to have your master data to be transferred from one system to another system, and we do not require your outbound deliveries also. Okay, I'm sorry, outbound deliveries in the sense that duplication of your deliveries is no more required. Okay, that is one thing. Clear this, everyone?
Yes, but I have one question per confirmation. Means in EWM 9.5, means there is the settings we can remove the duplication.
Can I help me out that?
In EWM 9.5, we can remove this duplication
Remove
for
it.
inbound and
Yes,
admin.
we do. Yes, we have at an order level. We can skip that requests. Yes, we still can do
Means
that.
yeah, means that's the truth actually.
That can be removed. Yeah, that's not a problem. Earlier in the 9.3 to 9.4, we don't have that option, but now we can also skip these requests. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, that
Thank
is
you.
one thing which we can have it in the decentralized one. All right. Apart from that, now there are multiple changes every innovation. Whenever we have a new release, there are some changes every time SAP is trying to implement. That's the thing, ideally, because from till date, till 1709 release, what happened was we do not have an option of changing the delivery quantity once it has been distributed. But from 1709 release, at a time of this automatic, I mean, like once the delivery has been distributed, we still have the option of changing the quantity of your EWM outbound delivery. But ideally, there should be the prerequisite that you are not supposed to pick your any of your things. Means picking in the sense what? Pick of your any of your outbound deliveries there. You got my point, everyone? Hello.
Okay.
Means if you start picking your warehouse and your products, then how does it make sense for us to have this, right? Because you're not supposed to pick it. You got it? You can change your quantity before you pick it, but once you started picking, you can't change your quantities in your outbound delivery. That will not make any significance for you. You got my point?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's, yeah, so
See,
that's one of tell me please.
like changing out quantity what I did not follow here. So obviously, I mean,
No, I
let's
mean to
say,
say that, for example, if you have your outbound delivery getting created in your ERP system, okay,
oh, okay,
and once this delivery has been distributed to your external systems, do we have a privilege of changing that quantity?
okay, I cannot answer that because
No, we don't have it ideally,
yeah, I
because
work with WM, right?
yeah,
So that is what I was relating it to when I could change in my WM.
you cannot change your outbound delivery quantity again. But here, from this particular 1709 release, what happened was, though the delivery has been distributed to your EWM systems, still we will be able to change your ERP outbound delivery, not your EWM one, your ERP outbound delivery, and that particular change will be automatically reflecting to your EWM system. But here the prerequisite is nothing but it's only the picking activities should not be performed. That is what. Okay.
Yeah, Sriram, Sujit here. Actually,
Yes,
picking means you mean transfer order should not be created to you
I mean to say that your transfer
for
requirements and your
outbound.
transfer orders should not be created for your outbound deliveries. If it's been started, then ideally there is no point of changing your delivery quantities. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
Any other question?
at this
Yes.
point, I want to ask one question. So my question
Hmm.
is, when you create one inbound delivery or outbound delivery in ERP, then
Hmm.
after transferring this deliveries to SCM based EWM 9.5, then we
Hmm.
can change the quantity in the ERP. So we can't change anything in the delivery in the ERP side,
Yes.
from ERP side.
Exactly.
Okay, but in
Yes.
S4HANA, is it possible? Means we can change.
We can change that. Yeah.
Means this thing you are saying, right?
Yes.
Okay, but after transferring from ERP to EWM, in EWM can we change it?
In EWM, at any point of time, you can change it. There is no point, or there is no thing. But ideally, the only thing is at your ERP outbound delivery, you can't change it, right? Earlier, but now you can change it. That is what I was trying to say here. Okay.
Means this facility is only available in S4HANA.
In even in your decentralized, also
1709
we have
onwards.
it. Even in the
Okay.
decentralized, also we do have it now. Okay.
Yeah, Sriram,
Okay.
if we change in EWM level, will it get replicated in the outbound delivery?
I'm sorry, come back. I'm sorry, come back again.
If we change quantity in EWM,
Yeah, that will anyhow will
in
reflect back.
outbound
Yeah,
delivery.
yeah, that will anyhow will reflect back to your ERP outbound deliveries. That is there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So that is what the difference is. Mostly we can say that. On top of it, the simplified of your production integrations and your quality integrations, that's other thing we do have it. But most importantly, what we can say is these are the major changes that we can see from your ERP to your EWM. What we have it from the embedded versus your decentralized one. Apart from that, when we talk about the other things in detail, normally we have like this EWM warehouse will be with 4 digits, and we will be having the sections are not mandatory. But this is anyhow we will be detailed. I'll be discussing in the sessions because it's a demo one. I'm not putting all these things now. So these are all the things which we will be talking about in detail, guys. Okay, this packaging specifications and the availability of the stock groups. Okay, so all these things we will be making this happen actually. Okay, hello.
Okay.
So apart from that, in the EWM, the other most important thing I just want to make sure is about your layout oriented storage control, which will be used for your semi-automated warehouses. That's one other thing. And this replenishment and the physical inventory remains the same. Whatever the concept we have in the WM, it's the same again. Apart from that, the other thing was this slotting and the rearrangement and the PPF one, guys. These are the two important things. Means in this particular PPF, in the post-processing framework, what will happen for us? Okay. Hello.
Yeah, we hear.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
One second. Yeah, so this post-processing framework is nothing but it's a kind of your PPF actions that we always created. Means what? Whether if you want to have your printing to be happening or your workflows, or if you want to automate any kind of a scenarios in your EWM system, or if you want to have your workflows to be triggered or your emails to be triggered, all these things, this is the one where we will talk about a PPF. And apart from that, we'll be having a slotting and the rearrangement. That's another thing again. So all these things are nothing but mostly we will be using as a post-processing framework tool, which we will be using in EWM and as well as in your TM also. That's one thing. So this is another thing. And apart from that, we'll have the labor management and the slotting and rearrangement. If you want to arrange your goods in your warehouse, how effectively we can do it and rearrange it based on your what do you say that for example, if you have any of your what do you say this there will be some seasonal products, for example, so where you will be having most deliveries in one season, in other season you'll not have it. For example, that's where be in a rainy season you'll have this umbrellas, some kind of anything. Then that point of time the slotting and rearrangement will come into the picture. Okay, or the and other things like the labor management, how effectively you want to track your workers in your warehouse. That's one thing. So all these things are the processes that we will be discussing in detail when we step into the sessions, guys. Okay, so as a kind of an overview, I just try to tell you that EWM will be offering these kind of an advanced functionalities what we see here. I'm sorry, this one. So we will be having all these kind of things when we compare to the WM. Okay, hello.
Yes.
So any other
Yeah.
questions now?
Steve, I have a
Yes,
request.
please.
Anil
Yeah,
here.
please tell me.
So during our session, could you also sometime relate some of the WM key topics, and I mean you
Yeah,
compare?
I always do it because even I came from a WM background. So I always try to correlate, like we have this stockroom management, I'm sorry, storage unit concepts, but now we don't have that storage unit concepts in your warehouse. And then we have this transfer requirements and transfer orders. That's a different thing. On top of it, yeah, I'll always do that. How the warehouse management works and how does your EWM works normally. I always do that actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So, do you have any other questions coming to the EWM set or to the content wise, guys? Anyone?
So, could you please say something about the stockroom management?
Stockroom management is nothing but a handling unit management in the EWM system now. We don't have the separate handling unit managed storage locations or a handling unit managed storage types in your warehouse management. What we do it, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. In
But
warehouse management,
what
we
is the
used to. Go ahead. Yeah.
what is the use of stockroom management? Because first time I heard this terminology like stockroom management.
So,
That's why I'm asking.
stockroom management is nothing but your warehouse management solution. The current warehouse management solution has been renamed in as your stockroom management. Okay.
Okay.
So now
Hmm.
is it available in the business suite? Means the SAP business suite?
I believe yes. I'm not sure about the stockroom management one, but I think it is available.
And one more thing, I just want to know
Hmm.
the SAM based EWM. SAP is planning to stop provide support the SAM based EWM 9.5 from means 2025
No,
onwards.
no, who said that?
No,
SAP will not
actually,
support the support.
means I
No. EWM is the current one what SAP is supporting, and why will they stop this one? They will not do that.
means only the SAM based EWM.
Not even SEM based EWM. I'm not sure, but what you're
Okay.
trying to say, but they will not support. They will not. They didn't even mention that they're going to stop supporting this SEM based EWM. Nowhere.
Means further upgradation they will not provide things like that. Means I am
I
not sure,
haven't heard
but
about this. I haven't heard about this till now. What you're saying, and I
Yeah,
believe that's not correct.
so what I heard is WM support will stop from 2024, right?
Exactly, not the
And,
EWM one. EWM they
yeah.
never mentioned it actually.
And the companies who are using WM, they are being, asked to migrate it to EWM.
Yes, that is what I heard, but EWM they never said this actually.
It's a growing product. They cannot stop
okay.
supporting.
And
Yeah, exactly.
yes, yes. So okay. So I think by mistake it's my misunderstanding maybe. So one more question. In this syllabus,
Mhm.
WM to EWM migration part is included.
Oh, no, that is completely different again. Yeah, I was only focusing on the EWM content. WM to EWM migration, that's a different thing. That is not going to be there.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
not a problem then. Okay, so you can let me know if you have any other questions in mind, guys. If not,
So
you can just
Sriram,
leave
this
your. Please go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. I just like to know the duration of this course if we'll go for it.
Duration, it depends. Like normally, we will be telling it to 40 to 45 hours to 50. But ideally, it depends upon the understanding of you guys, how far you can make it up. Because it's not
Means
something I'm restricting.
approximately how many
That's what I said. 40 to 50 hours, that's approximately what we are trying to maintain it. But I'm not restricting to the 40 to 50 hours. It all depends upon the understanding what you had it there. Okay.
okay.
Sometimes it may vary even. Okay. I'm not restricting only to 45 hours here. Okay. So any other questions
Sriram, this
now?
is Varun.
Yeah, Varun, please.
Sridham, I'm following your class, but going forward, I just wanted to know, as I'm completely new to SAP, do I
Yes.
need to take any prerequisites?
I believe yes, because probably if you can have your materials management overview of it, then that would be helpful for you to get this one. I mean, like in detail, in the
Okay.
terms, like if you can understand what is a purchase order and how do you have to create in materials and what is the stock movements. So I believe that would be new for you, right? So in order to avoid
Yeah,
that, if you, yeah,
domain knowledge wise, I do understand all these concepts, but
yes.
virtually, how do I
Systematically,
organize it?
yeah, systematically, it would be a bit difficult for you to correlate initially, but if you practice it or if you can make this materials management in time and based on that, because it's not something if you know WM or if you know something else, we have to make this because sometimes I'll simply create a purchase order, but for you, for other people, it would be so easy to understand that. But in your case, it is a
Right.
bit time taking for you to understand what is a purchase order. So those are the small things. Even now, if you Google it, also you'll be getting it how to create a purchase order. That's not a big thing now. How to create a sales order, how to create a purchase order, and how to create a material in SAP. You Google it, you'll be getting so many blocks. That's not a problem. But it would be a bit, what do you say, that time taking to for you to digest it. That's it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, Sri. Anil here.
Yeah,
So,
please, Anil.
just a out of the topic question. So,
Please.
if I mean WM to EWM migration is how complex is this actually?
It's not complex, it's about the time consuming because it will take at least 10 to 15 hours for me to complete that. So additional to this means it will be too hard for me. That's the reason I'm not including that content in these topics.
Okay. Okay. So I'd like
Okay.
to keep. I like to key some. Give some points on my understanding of WM. Okay. So I am not more familiar on movement types. I mean, I can understand.
No, in
What,
EWM, we do not have any movement types. Don't worry about that. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry
Types.
about that. In EWM, we do not have any movement types there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So any other questions now, guys?
Yeah,
So,
I just want
ah,
to know if we
mm,
are covering the advanced topics in the class. By advanced topic, I mean yard management, cross-docking,
mm, yes, I'll be taking that.
labor management, labor management,
Yes, we'll be taking that. Not a problem.
quality integration, production integration.
Production integration in these topics I have segregated into other ones actually. That's an advanced content which we are talking that I'll be taking up in a separate thing. That content you can also get it from Naveen. He'll be providing that. So in the advanced content, I'll be talking about your doc appointment schedulings, and you will be
Mhm.
having your production integration, quality integration, and TM to EWM integration. So all the integration objects that will be covered in the advanced ones. Because if I try to put even that in these topics, it will be ending
Mhm.
up somewhere to me 100 hours again. That's something which will be a lot of things to digest again. So that's the reason those content is completely separated here.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. To the
Okay.
board, the idea for this particular one is to make sure that how exactly we are understanding the basic functionalities of
Mhm.
our EWM. Basic in the sense it's not a completely a basic thing, but ideally we will be make sure how does an EWM will be working with an end-to-end
Yes,
solution.
Sri,
But in
and
advanced,
one more thing I would, yeah, Sri, sorry for interrupting. One more thing I would need is, as you know, in embedded EWM, basic EWM is free, and for licensing, for the advanced EWM, if you activate certain,
yes.
components, and those are charged accordingly.
Yes,
So with
there
all,
is a report for that. There is a report for that. If you run
yeah,
that report, you will be knowing what is an advanced functionalities and what is the basic functionalities for that. Okay.
okay,
Yep.
yeah. So would like to know insights on that. Okay, on the
Not a problem. That's what that I'll be getting into that when we understand the topics and slowly we will be getting into there. So on a day one in a demo session, I can't put everything on a day one, right? So I'm just trying to give you
I'm
that
not.
overview.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just trying to probe what lies ahead. Okay, yeah. Thanks.
Mm. Not a problem. Okay. So any other questions now? So is it all, guys?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so you can just leave your feedback to Naveen, guys. So based on that, we can look after that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Sri.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Okay, have a nice
Yeah.
evening. Bye bye.
Thank you, Sri.
Thank you. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you, Sri.
Yeah.